let's take a quick look at how to build and assign a geofence. First, we'll click on the Job Center in the left-hand navigation bar and go into Geofences. To create a new geofence, we'll click on Create New Geofence. I generally like to zoom into the area of interest because this module will search everything in the visible map, and it's usually faster to find an address in an area closer to your geofence. You don't have to get exact, but it does help to at least be in the state. Type in the address in the address field to start your search and select the correct one once you see it. It's going to automatically create a circle that's about 300 yards in diameter. Let's give it a name. We can adjust the geofence by simply clicking and dragging, or we can change the shape type by clicking on a different shape. If I wanted a rectangle, I could do that, or if I wanted a custom shape, I could do a custom shape. It's also important to note that with geofences, typically the best practice is to give a little bit of extra room because locations are never going to be perfectly precise. So I try to leave about 100 yards around the true perimeter of what you're trying to create. It is also important to note that sometimes people's phones may have weird kind of bounces, so it's possible you could see somebody who's physically standing in front of you at the shop or office, and their beacon bounces out to, say, closer to the road here in this example. If that happens, you can always temporarily disable their geofence, have them punch in, see where that beacon shows up in their tracking history, and then go back in and adjust the geofence to accommodate whatever that bounce happens to be. Once we're good here, we'll go ahead and save. You can create as many geofences as you want. Now we have the geofence, but it's not actually tied to anything, so it's not doing anything. It's just sitting here in our geofence area. So we need a way to tie these to specific groups of employees. And to do so, we create what is called a job and attach employees and geofences to it. You can create as many jobs as you want. You can create as many geofences as you want. You can have multiple geofences assigned to a job. You can have a geofence assigned to multiple jobs, or you can have one per job. It really gives you a lot of flexibility in how these can be grouped and enforced across various employee groups. So if all we care about is creating a geofence, then we can leave a lot of this blank. I'll call this job Geofence, backdate the start date, select ongoing because I always want it to be in effect. We can skip the budget. We'll add in one default task even if you're not job costing, just to make sure this is working properly. Then we can go ahead and assign any employees that we want to assign to this geofence. And for the sake of this exercise, I'll just assign everybody. Finally, we can go to the geofence area, and this is where we'll see a drop-down of the geofences that we've created. And again, you can assign just one, or you can assign multiple. Now we've got the geofence and employees assigned to the job, and this thing is ready to go. Now there's one final step here, and that's going to be that you need to make sure that the geofence restrictions are actually enabled at the user role level. So again, our employees all have user roles that are customizable and assigned when you create them. And to get there, we will go and click on your company name, go to Organization Settings. We can edit these roles here. I'm going to go ahead and just create a new one. We'll call it Mobile App. We don't really want to give them access to anything in the admin panel or settings or kiosk, but we do want to give them the mobile app access and geofence restrictions. So I'll turn this on. You'll see here that you have several levels of restriction that you can apply to that geofence. So if you want to apply to punch in and punch out, you could select both. If you want them to make sure they start and end their meal breaks at a specific site, we can turn those on. And if you're job costing, you can actually make them be inside of the next job site in order to switch or clock in or clock out. It's also worth noting that the punch out restriction is a little bit different than punch in, meal start, and meal end. Those are rigid. The employees will get a pop-up that says you're not in the geofence, so you can't do that. However, on punch out, we allow them to go ahead and punch out outside of the geofence. but we let them know we know they aren't in the geofence. We capture the location where they are punching out. We also capture when we last saw them in a geofence and let them know we know that. We also force them to leave a note. You will see their last known time in Geofence as well as their note in the time cards area of the admin panel in context of the shift right in the correction request bubble. It's also worth noting, if after you've got these things all built you have a new hire, you can simply go into the new hire's employee profile after creation, click on the Employee Jobs tab, and we can go ahead and assign the jobs or geofences this way as well. Whatever's easiest for you works. And that's it. Please reach out if you have any questions.